what they want you to do is match the coordinate plane to the proper equation and equivalency ratio table. So for each one of these coordinate planes, there's a matching equivalency ratio table and a matching equation. And you got to figure it out. So see where it says letters blank and blank? One of these letters for the coordinate plane has to match up, or for the ratio table, and one equation has to match up. So here's our plan of attack. This is what I want you to do. For this first coordinate plane, look where your dots are. Make those dark so you could see them on your sheet. First thing I'm going to ask you to do is I want to figure out for each coordinate plane how many miles they're going in 1 hour. That's called the unit rate. So let's take a look at that first coordinate plane, and the answer is really right in front of us because there's a dot for 1 hour and it meets up with miles on the y-axis. So how many miles per hour is being shown in that coordinate plane? Alex. I don't see 5, hon. I see a 1 here, and it matches up with what? So 1 hour, how many miles? It's just reading the dots, 65. I want you to put that on the outside of the coordinate plane just like that. This is hours. This is miles. That's showing you 65 miles per hour. Here's your first question, and it's a critical one. What's your multiplicative, or what's your constant? Antonio? 65. Remember, constant. What are you multiplying by to get from top to bottom? Times 65, right? So now what we're going to do is find the ratio table that has the same constant. So let's look at this. 2 times what makes 130? Aiden. Try not to guess. If you don't know, just do division. 2 into 130 will also get you what we're looking for. Anthony. Well, what's our answer? 2 into 130 goes how many times? What is the constant for 2 to 130? What are you multiplying by? Right. So this table matches up with this plane. Right? 2 to 130 is an equivalent ratio for 1 to 65. And if you're still not sure, look, it actually matches up perfectly here anyway. At 2 hours, you want 130 miles. So that is the correct ratio table. Now we have to match up an equation. 1 hour, 65 miles. Which of these equations? This one, or this one? Shows that after 1 hour, it's going to go 65 miles. Smiley. B. Once you've selected it, cross it out because it can't be used again. E and B is done. Okay, let's do the second coordinate plane. If you look at the dot, see how the dot is in between 30 and 60? Yes? Don't use that dot if it's in the middle because you don't know exactly where in between 30 and 60 is. But you can tell at 2 and 90. Find the value of that ratio, 2 to 90. Z. Okay, right. If it takes 2 hours to go 90 miles, it takes 1 hour to go 45 miles. What's my constant? From top to bottom. Here, this is table B. This is equation E. It's matching up with that coordinate plane. No, they're not variables, they're choices. Yeah. You good now?
Yeah.
What's my constant for this value of the ratio? Kaylee? Okay, so times 45, right? Let's see what table it matches up with. Figure out what your multiplicative constant is for that. And if you get lost, remember, if you don't know what it's being multiplied by, use division. Tell me what you get. And what'd you get? 5 into 275 goes... Well, first of all, what is 5 into 275? Oh. Alex. 55. Does not match up. We need a 45. Obviously, by process of elimination, the only table that's left is F. And yes, 3 times 45 is 135. So it matches. What about the equation? Emma, what about the equation? I know with a lot of markings on here, it's starting to get busy. But our only choices that are still left are either C or E. No, C or A. "45 miles in 1 hour." Yep. Obviously, the only things that are now left are your last two blanks. But look, this is 1 to 55. So you want 55 miles per hour. And then Aiden already figured that out, so that's going to be D. Try to do the next page on your own. I'll walk around and see how you did. All right, help us out here for the blog. What's the value of that first coordinate plane? Guys, back up on Smartboard. What's the value of that first coordinate plane? 1 to 70. What's the value of the second coordinate plane? Steven.
A and D.
No, not answers. Let's do values first. What's the ratio, the value of the ratio for the second coordinate plane? No. Charlie. Third coordinate plane. Dog. All right, now let's do the matching.
What's the 16?
Right. All right, let's match it up. Which ratio table matches up with a 1 to 70 ratio? Kaylee. B. Because 6 times 70 is 420. What equation does it match up with?
C.
Yep. Once you find that value, the equation's easy because you just got to find the number that matches up. All right, what about coordinate plane number 2? Max.
D and A.
And the last one should be E and F, right? All right, let's do the next one together. And then you're guys going to group up, and I'll tell you what your homework is. Skip that. Skip that. Where'd it go? Hold on a minute. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. All right, it's this page. We have to determine what everybody's rate of speed is per 1 hour. So if Brian goes takes him 3 hours to go 75 miles, how many miles per hour is the bike going? That's what unit rate is. It's how many whatever quantity per whatever quantity, per single. Three hours, 75 miles is how many miles after 1 hour?
It's 25 miles.
What about Shanice? You got to use the coordinate plane. You can't really tell by looking at the 1, but you got to do something with 2. Kelly. Right, how'd you do it? Okay, we have a data point at 30 and 2. 15 miles per hour. You know that you can abbreviate miles per hour as MPH, right? That throw you off, or are we good with that? So whose bike goes slower? Chat. Whose goes quicker? Let's go on to the next page. Now it says Shanice wants to win the bike race. Right now she's losing because she's a slowpoke. You have to make a new graph to show the speed Shanice would have to ride her bike in order to beat Brian. So therefore, you need a coordinate plane that's greater than how many miles per hour to beat Brian. Come on, you should be able to all do that. Look back. We have to beat how many miles per hour? E squared. Look back. Who's the faster biker? How many miles per hour? We have to beat 25 miles per hour. So we've got to construct a coordinate plane that's greater than 25 miles per hour. Give me a number that's greater than 25 that's within reason. Because I don't care how good you are, Stephen Brass, I guarantee you, you cannot bike 120 miles an hour.
30.
That's a good number. So let's count by 30s. Good enough. What am I counting by on the x-axis? T King. Count by ones. What's the label for this? That's one thing that I did see on your last test. You guys were losing points because you weren't labeling. And we also have to put a title on this too. And you can abbreviate hours if you want. HRS. What are these numbers along the y-axis representing? Ryan, miles. Whose bicycle data are we showing?
Shanice.
Let's put that in the title. Shanice is, I don't even know if I spelled it right. Probably not.
It's right in front of you.
Thank you. Little E in there, isn't there? Let's just call it Shanice's bike times. And then just construct your line to show 30 miles per hour. See if I can draw a real straight line without cheating. Pretty good. Before I group you up, I just want to do the first part of the next question because there was trouble with it in period 2. So if you can go one more page, I'll get you started with this. Just read the exercise quietly to yourself, and then we'll start it together, and then I'll have you finish it. Yeah, Jack.
I'm sure, like, in the corner frame, I put like 300, but 9 lined up at.
9 should wind up at 270.
No.
Did you find it? Did you find the error?
I didn't go thing. Is this supposed to be a 10?
You can if you, I stopped it. I don't even remember what I stopped at. Right, I just didn't finish it. It goes to 11 if you complete all of the boxes. It actually goes to 10. You don't have a box for 360 up going up the x-axis, up the y-axis. Okay, did you read this? So let's just first figure out what Braylon's or dollars per hour, what he makes. The equation is right here. We're just going to rewrite it. Everybody remember from yesterday, what are you supposed to do when you have a number together with a variable? You missed that. That might be throwing you off too. See how we have this number next to a letter? I taught that yesterday. So don't tell me because I already know it. Tell Martina, what are you supposed to do?
We're supposed to put the number in front of the letter, and then that represents that you're multiplying.
Right. Remember how we said a little dot for multiply? We can now take the dot out because it looks like it could be a decimal. So whenever you see a number together with a letter, you multiply it. You okay with that?
I'm fine.
Sort of? Watch. It's good for everybody to see it anyway. What am I doing between 5 and h? Multiplying, right? This is the same thing as multiplying. 5 times h. We just don't put the dot in anymore. Because it gets confused with the decimal. So this is 10.50 times h, which we're going to substitute in. Okay? To figure out how many miles per hour, or it's dollars, right? M is the amount of money. Sorry, M represents money. So after 1 hour, let's figure out what Braylon makes. We're going to substitute. Now look, I have to put the dot back in again when I substitute the number 1. Everybody multiply that and figure out how much money per hour he makes.
I did this, I substituted it with 3, so I know how much to make 3 hours, and I got this step correct.
You can. This is a little confusing, but they want to first figure out what he's making per hour, which you're going to need down below, because this isn't quite right.
Yeah, no, I was looking at that.
All right, as simple as it looks, what's 10.5 times 1? Okay, that's what he's making per hour. Now you have to look at Tice's ratio table and figure out if he's making the same, more, or less than Braylon. And that's where I'm going to put you in your groups and let you work. I want you to do, if you can, before the bell rings, exercise 3, finish this, and try to do exercise 4. Because I'm going to tell you what your homework is. You know how last night you had a light night? Shouldn't have taken any more than 30 seconds last night, right? You have a little bit more to do tonight. I want you to finish the book. That means the remaining exercises and the problem set. Okay? Group up. Go.